Welcome to Sober Talk. I'm Dennis and I'm an alcoholic. Sober today thanks to Alcoholics Anonymous. If you or anyone you know is struggling with alcohol, please call Alcoholics Anonymous on 1300 222222 or visit their website at aa.org.au. I'll just run through the preamble of Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problems and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for a membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. It is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety.
My name's Elizabeth. I'm a sober alcoholic, sober today, for the grace of God. Just my story. Growing up as a child, I never felt like I fitted in. Found it hard to make friends, and my father died when I was 10, so I felt like, where's this God? And went to secondary school, and I just didn't feel. I went to a girls' school, and they said, "I'll be old man." I'd say, "At least you got one." So I just really was an angry person, and I love your sport. That was the way I got peace, was playing basketball and sport. So in the break times, I'd go to the gym just to be on my own, shoot goals. And they barred me from the gym, hoping I'd make friends, but it didn't work. But anyway, I'd be handing out cigarettes to girls wanting to get friends, but they'd take the cigarettes. And but anyway, I was trying hard, but I just didn't know how to fit in. And but once I picked up that drink, that was it. I thought that it calmed me down. I didn't like the taste, but actually I felt like I fitted in. I initially only drank weekends, because in those days, children should be seen and not heard. I'm right, you're wrong, and if I cried, I'd get a whack. So I learned how to control my emotions, and so I mixed with older people when I got a part-time job working at the shopping centre after school, secondary school, and I was underage. With the first time I got drunk, we went on a work do up on top of a mountain, and I went with people, and they're getting me drinks, and I drank Drops on the Rocks. And I was up dancing. On the way down, we got to go round and around the mountain. And of course, first time ever I didn't stop, and I was sick as anything. I was so embarrassed. And I'm hiding in the shop, and I saw the people, and they said, "Don't worry, that happens to us all, Anyway, so I didn't drink Drops on the Rocks, so I thought that was my problem. But anyway, that was my first real drunk. But I was allergic to alcohol, but I persevered, I was like, I didn't drink at home, so I was a pub drinker, and I drink in the bar, because in the lounge women were too slow and I'm paid poor, and I was, people in the pub, I'd talk to them and they'd say, drink milk before, when you go to bed, or drink water, like line your stomach with milk, and but in the end, for 15 years is when it escalated, and I drank most days, and people would tell me what I did, and if they were laughing, I'd laugh with them. But a lot of the times, I didn't remember what I did or said, and I woke up in places and I looked around and thought, where am I? I didn't know. I mean, the places where I ended up, but all as I know is, I had a partner at home, and all of a sudden, I wake up and I didn't know where I was. But anyway, that was how it was, and I drank and drove, and that was just how it was for me. I drank beer, put on the weight, got out the calorie counter. Gin had the least. Soda water had mule. So I drank that. That got expensive. And then I ended up on cask wine. I liked Riesling. And I'd be driving on the car and I'd have a cask of wine beside me. Instead of lights, I'd have a look and, just flick the lid and have a drink and keep driving. I had a hospital sticker on the car and the police would pull me over a lot of times and I'd get out first. I was told what to do. And I said, look, I've got to get to work. Here's me sticker. And, they never breathalyzed me just before I got sober. But anyway, I had my car do 360-degree spins a couple of times. I got out and the car was okay. And, and I just got in the car and up I'd go again. I woke up in blackout. I'm at the police station trying to tell them these blokes were punching me up and whatever. They said, we can't lock you up. Get out of here. So I got in my car. I was that drunk and off I went and back to the pub. But anyway, I was looked after, but I was mad. And, fortunately, I never ever killed anyone or hurt anyone. Just my car. But anyway, I was just mad. And, I'd be ringing my mum and I'd be writing down things to remind myself what to say because I knew I couldn't remember the next day type thing. Then I'd try and read my notes to see what I said. Then I couldn't read what I said anyway, Okay. But anyway, once my partner thought, gee, it's quiet because normally when I was talking to Mum, I'm talking loud. Anyway, come in and I'm sound asleep and he threw water over me to wake me up. And I said, yes, and Mum was still waiting for me, I said, oh, look, I was doing shift work and I said, oh, I've been working hard, I'm tired, But anyway, Mum was always there for me, But anyway, I had, a lot of car accidents. I had an insurance company that wanted to give me an A rating to get rid of me, And but, I never married, didn't have kids. I took out a cashed-in life insurance policy to keep drinking. I didn't think drinking was my problem. Then I took a cashed-in life insurance policy, took out a loan to keep drinking, just a couple of thousand thinking it'd get better. 2 years before I got sober, I was unwell and I was put into a public place, rehab, 2 weeks. And, I stopped drinking. I was told then I'll continue to drink 30, I'll be an alcoholic. Came out, went to one meeting, arrived drunk, didn't listen. And the last 2 years, I hated myself. I didn't want to go on. I didn't know what I wanted to live, but I didn't want to live. And eventually, I was seeing counsellor to try to stop drinking. And I read in the paper about alcoholism, Herald Sun, and I thought maybe an alcoholic. And I rang this counsellor and said maybe you need to be in hospital. I had an appointment with my mum's doctor. I drank and drove, and probably for about 7. I don't remember this, but my mum said that I came in and said I can't go on. She kept a phone number to Paul House, which just opened up in Melbourne. It was public detox, no medication. That was it. Week or 10 days and you're out. Anyway, in those days you can get a bed, and they drove me. My dad had my stepdad, but up on dad. I had 2 fosters my way in, woke up, didn't know where I was. And in those days it was just walk down Fitzroy Street, get a vitamin B injection in your bottom, and that was it. And then went to a meeting on the Wednesday night to Winston's Hospital, and I was asked to share, and I said I'm an alcoholic and sat down, nearly choked, and left there, and I had my last drink on March the 8th, 89. Since then, a day at a time, I had to, in those days they said don't worry about the meetings. It took me 5 years to get into Steps, the big book. I recommend as soon as you can, the quicker you get into it, the quicker you get well. But I've only shared my story, and that's how it was. I went mad several times, but I didn't pick up a drink. My days it was get a public phone to call for help. Nowadays you've got mobile phones and all this technology, so you just got to find somebody to connect with, call them daily, get a sponsor, do the steps. And for me, it's all about helping others. I'm here today because of the older members that helped me, that some of them have died sober. I've been to people's deaths that, they just didn't get it. It was so simple you can forget about it. All we've got to do is just don't pick up a drink or a drug for me. And that's all. You can do anything else. My sponsor will say you rob a bank. Just joking. You got to suffer the consequences. But that's all we ask. Do not pick up a drink, just for today. Weeks will turn into months. Months will turn into years, a day at a time. I've had a lot of times where I wanted to pick up a drink, but you just don't pick up the first drink. He used to say, have a milkshake, 2 lollies, whatever. You won't feel off a drink, Jimaholic, whatever. I mean, I was a workaholic, it's not a good idea, but that's what I did. But, I'm grateful that I haven't been able to pick up a drink at all, a day at a time. I've rung up people middle of the night. I've had women ring me. That's how it works. We understand each other. We just go to meetings, get a sponsor, do the steps. I didn't do 30 meetings in 30 days. Doesn't matter. Whatever you can do, the more the better, maybe. But for me, when I was sick, I did 60 meetings in whatever days. It doesn't matter as long as you get to meetings, keep in contact. And I help others. And today at a time, I'll always continue to help others. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. AA is always there. I arrived at New Zealand, just got to a public phone and rang. Where's the meeting? This is where you go. Went there and hired a car for 2 weeks and drove around the south of New Zealand, got to meetings and, I got lost heading to somewhere and the car stopped by. It was the AA people because I've been to meetings and they just said, yeah, gave me a hug, said, thank you, God. And off I drove and, so, I went to the World Convention, 70,000 sober alcoholics, about every 5 years, and I hired a car in America for 2 weeks on my own, wrong side of the road, Elvis Presley's mansion, he had all the money and he wasn't happy. I walked in, I cried and I said, I'm grateful that I didn't pick up, and, but for the grace of God. But anyway, all I know is, now you got WhatsApp, you got all this technology, and you can have these Zoom meetings, so, there's always ways how you can get to meetings. I like face-to-face, but you've got your Zoom meetings and, you got WhatsApp. I mean, I was in China last month for 20 nights and, I went to an English-speaking meeting and did a Zoom meeting in China, and, all I know is, it's a great fellowship and I had to learn how to live and ask questions and get help. And for me, I think I was grateful that I just did what I was told to do, stick with strength, they used to say. The older members, if you hang around the newcomers, if they pick up a drink, others pick up a drink. That's what I did. I've got older members that I hung around with, and, I couldn't even make a decision and my sponsor gave me this little whizzer button, yes or no, because I didn't know how to make a decision. And I asked for help and she gave me 3 choices and let me try and decide what I wanted to do, but I had to, I just had to ask questions. No questions settled, you know what I mean? Because we understand each other. And it's, how the fellowship works and, and presently, wherever I travel, AA is with me and I'm very grateful for the fellowship and giving back to others. My mum kept the phone number to Paul House, and I was able to, she passed away at 93. But in that last few years, she always knew AA was there. When she was in hospital, I said, Mum, I've got to get to a meeting. She said, an AA meeting, And I said, I'll be back, And she knew what AA was and, and I just said that, I'll always keep on going to AA, carry the message and, and I was able to get a companion car, take my mum to the zoo, to the musical, to Elvis Presley's thing in the country. I took her in the car, I took her to the footy, Ella Walker, and she loved the footy, So I made sure that Mum got a life because she gave me a life and I made sure in the end, she went peacefully and now I'm at the stage of my life where I've retired and, and I couldn't get a job working drug and alcohol and here I am sober and I'm going around carrying the message to the places in where I live where I couldn't get a job sober because, I didn't pass the interview because I didn't sell myself. Anyway, all I know is now, like, I always carry the message whenever I'm asked to speak, and I'm on a cruise, and the opportunity arose, and I thought, yeah, why not? You never know, the time's right. Carry the message to somebody else, and they have a little practice golf on the roof. Just a little par 3 thingo, 4 shots and you're in. And this lady's drunk, and I had a chat with her, and she wanted a drink. I said, "You get dehydrated there," and we celebrate 80 years of AA. And she said, "You in the 80s club?" I didn't twig. So she'd heard one of our members talking, and here I am in the 80s club. So you never know whenever someone's around how they'll remember that. Here's 400 sober people, a day at a time on a P&O cruise ship, and so there's always I stick with the strength, stick with the fellowship, and anytime I want to go overseas, I always Google AA conventions, events, and I fucking fan around when things are happening just to be, with sober people, and so there's a lot of so it's just a great fellowship, and and I'm ever so grateful, and day at a time, I'll just keep coming back, and thank you.
How did you find the God stuff?
Oh, great. Glad you asked me that. I'm grateful that in the early days, there was a priest where I work, and somebody said, "We go to this meeting," and Father Pat was there. But what's he doing there? He was an alcoholic. And I said to him, "How do you find this God?" And I'm running around trying to find this God. I've been to this church and that church. And he said, "Don't worry, don't chase God." He said, the church couldn't get me sober. He said, "The church is for me," because he's a priest, but he said, "You need AA." I went to a meeting 2 weeks later. Someone didn't know me. He said, someone went to church, stopped drinking, they died. All I know is I was told, and I respect what he said to me because, the church couldn't get him sober. So for me, it was a matter of, I just knew that through the fellowship, things happen. God coincidental things like, when I felt like I could drink, people would say, "That time you prayed." This time I'm in the city in Melbourne, and I was going on a river cruise actually with AA as a function, and my partner, I was in a, don't get tired, hungry, thirsty. I thought, I've got to pray. I saw the sign McDonald's, went to the toilet, got down on my knees. I said, "I don't want to pick up a drink today." I walked out and walked into a member. I don't know. The things happen. All I know is that God coincidences or whatever. Things happen. And so for me, all I know is that, I'm spiritual, and, things happen for a reason, good and bad. When you get the bad things happen, it's for a lesson to grow. And then things, that's how things work. And so I just know that, I'm just so grateful that I've got my higher power, and just hang around, stick around, keep with the strength, and it's a lovely fellowship, a day at a time. Thank you.
AA has more than 2 million recovering alcoholics throughout the world. In Australia, there are about 18,000 members. They meet in over 2,000 local meetings spread around the country. Meetings range in size from a handful in some areas to hundreds or more in larger communities. And once again, if anyone you know is struggling with alcohol issues, please call Alcoholics Anonymous in 1300 222222 or visit their website on aa.org.au.